once you start asking questions, you can't stop.
You see, good health makes a lot of sense, but it doesn't make a lot of dollars.
Today's topic is omega-3 fatty acids, which I mentioned in other videos that we're going to be doing. Omega-3 fatty acids are incredibly important for human metabolism, especially when it comes down to cell-to-cell communication. And well, let's just get into it. Let's see what omega-3s are. Omega-3s are essential super unsaturated fatty acids, also known as SUFAs, S-U-F-A, super unsaturated fatty acid. If you can see that in red, S-U-F-A. There are also fats called MUFAs and PUFAs. MUFAs would be monounsaturated fatty acids, and your PUFAs would be polyunsaturated fatty acids. Poly meaning many, which means many fatty acids in a chain that are linked together that need to be enzymatically broken down into smaller subunits called essential fatty acids. The reason omega-3 fatty acids work so well is not only are they unsaturated, the characteristics of their vibrational frequencies and the characteristics of their size and shape, how your body needs them, and how they're very, very attracted to cell membranes. Omega-3s have a lot to do with the permeability of your cell membrane, the way things ebb and flow in and out of the cell membrane, and it works with saturated fats or cholesterols because those are a little more stiff or hard or straight-lined molecular structure of fatty acids, and they tend to harden the cell membrane. So you have this type of this balance between the flow of the way things get in and out of the cell membrane, again, which is a highly regulated mechanism, and then again how stiff the cell membrane can be. So you don't want it too permeable and sloshy. That's things like leaky gut syndrome. But you have to have a certain solidification, but yet a fluidity to it at the same time, and that's what omega-3s bring to human health and balance to the cell membrane. So these fats cannot be made in the body, so they are absolutely essential and must be acquired by our dietary intake. Now, in our country, we're pretty much omega-6 dominant, maybe not quite as much as we were 10 years ago because omega-3s have made such a surge into our culture, and the research on them has been incredible between omega-3s and vitamin D and astaxanthin and coenzyme Q10 are probably the top most tested or clinically tested nutrients so far to date. Lots and lots of information on omega-3s. So these types of fats can be taken in from fish sources, seeds, nuts, and the vegetable kingdom sources, and also through supplementation. Now, when taking omega-3 fatty acids, you got to understand that it goes right into your body right away. That's what makes them so essential and actually so efficient. Just like spirulina, as soon as you take it in, it goes right into the bloodstream and immediately begins to work. So omega-3 fats being unsaturated in nature means that they carry at least one double bond within their fatty acid chain molecule. So we need to know that design and shape is everything. So when you look at this double bond in the fatty acid molecule, the size and shape, that has to do with the receptor side on the cell membrane. Your body knows that it's an omega-3. It immediately pulls it in and is utilized by the cell. These types of fats are highly vulnerable to oxidation, basically becoming rancid, and light, heat, and oxygen destroys them. So in the process, you have to learn about manufacturing in your raw sources. How do you keep the integrity of the oil and keep it from light, heat, and oxygen to keep it stable before the body ingests it, because they can become rancid very easily. And when you look at nature, if you look at the seeds and the nuts that contain fatty acids, they have a seed that covers them that protect them from light, heat, and air. So now, since human enzyme systems cannot insert a double bond any closer than 7 steps from the methyl end, which is what this is talking about, I'll say that again. Since human enzyme systems cannot insert a double bond any closer than 7 steps from the methyl end of the molecule, and plants can do this, as close to 3 and 6 carbon links from the methyl end, this is what makes these fats essential and that make up the omega-3 and 6 fatty acid groups needed for human consumption. So if our body does not have the enzyme capability, as I talked about before, to bring a double bond closer than 7 steps, then we can't produce anything from 6 steps and lower. So your omega-3 and 6 family has to be essential. The problem with our culture is we've been omega-6 dominant, which is oxidative sometimes, an inflammatory response, instead of omega-3, more of a ratio of a 2-to-1 ratio between 6s and 3s, two times more 6 than 3s. And what happens is you bring an anti-inflammatory effect into the body. You can't be omega-6 dominant. If it is dominant, it should be a 2-to-1 ratio. 2 for 6, 1 for 3 in the body. So with this whole process and enzymes and methylends and all that other stuff, basically just means its structure, where the double bond is, gives its electrical potential or its characteristics. Plants can do this, so we have to eat the plant sources to get the omega-3 and 6 fatty acids. Omega-7s come from coconut oil and from some other sources, but your body can actually make those to a certain degree because your body has the enzyme systems to do so. Now, without getting too wordy, we need to understand that cis and trans fats are completely different in how your body utilizes them. Since size and shape predicate just about everything in human nutrition or nutrition chemistry, we need to know why we need the cis-trans configuration fatty acids and not the trans configuration fatty acids. Configuration basically means shape. The cis shape or the trans shape. It basically comes down to enzymatic breakdown and conversion. So enzymes break down the fats, the proteins, and the carbohydrates we consume into their smallest subunit usable forms. Enzymes, as I spoke about before, are the catalysts that break down all our protein, carbs, and fats starting in the mouth and the digestive system to break our fats down into essential fatty acids, our proteins into amino acids, and our sugars basically down to the glucose molecule. So everything has to be cleaved off is what enzymes do. They do this cleaving or lyasing process, and they break everything down into small subunits so your cell membrane receptor sites can utilize them. Okay, enzymes. Whole food natural fats that come from seed, nut, and plant kingdoms contain these naturally occurring enzymes that are freed up when we chew up these foods and break them down in the mouth. Now, the enzymes break down all the nutritional substrates of our foods, making them biologically available to the cells of the body. So this is where our natural cis configuration omega-3 fatty acids come from. Your body knows exactly what to do with them because they come from a whole food source like I talked about in the other videos. They carry that natural frequency that has a natural receptor site for your body to handle. This is where omega-3 supplementation comes in. You bypass this enzyme breakdown and immediately assimilate the omega-3s. Now, trans fats. Your trans fats are not natural. Even though they have unsaturated fat qualities, they take on the characteristics of a saturated fat. Now, hydrogen is added to these fats. So when they add hydrogen to these fats, they change their chemical structure from a cis configuration to a trans configuration. Because the fat is natural at first, then they hydrogenate it. And once they do that, it helps elongate the shelf life. Once you do that, you change its properties. Once you do that, you change its functions. And once you do that, you change everything in the way the body has to deal with it or try to enzymatically break it down. So, when you look at trans fats, they are only one molecule short of being plastic. Hence your margarines, your shortenings, and other fake fats. And this is not good for us at all. Because your body doesn't have any enzymes to break down plastic. So it's completely obnoxious to the body. Trans fats are absolutely horrible for you. Okay, smoke points. Oils have a smoke point. This is the temperature that an oil can handle under heat until it gets too hot and the properties of the oil structure changes and it becomes rancid, or what we know of as trans fats, as we just spoke about before. This is another way that we ingest trans fats outside of hydrogen, or outside of the hydrogen adding process. Simply by changing the oil structure with heat or fried foods, we turn natural, healthy oils into trans fats. So the health benefits of omega-3s. Lowers cholesterol levels, decreases blood viscosity or thickness without disrupting the clotting factors like drugs do. This is huge. Decreases blood viscosity without disrupting the clotting factors. It actually enhances the clotting capability more efficiently. What needs to bleed, what needs to clot, and the time efficiency that it takes your body to do so. Various nutrients start to flow. We talked about flow before. Very, very important for health. And you cannot have good health without the proper flow of the various fluids of your body, especially your blood, oxygen, and all various other nutrients. Bile flow, digestive flow, enzyme flow, saliva flow, etc., etc. It enhances cell-to-cell communication, which is basically what human metabolism is. Over 200 trillion cells in your body working in harmonious conjunction and synergy with each other is cell-to-cell communication. You disrupt that, certain systems suffer, then you eventually suffer. It balances prostaglandin production, which leads to the control of body and tissue inflammation. We're going to talk about this a little bit. Prostaglandins are little chemical messengers or little chemical substances that are made inside our cells from essential fatty acids. So if you are essential fatty acid deficient, you're going to be prostaglandin deficient. And if prostaglandins control inflammation, your body's going to have a hard time controlling inflammation. So, prostaglandins are any member of a group of fatty or lipid compounds that are derived enzymatically from fatty acids that have important functions in the body. So even deeper and smaller in structure and nature, your enzymes inside the cell take fatty acids and help to use that energy to make prostaglandins, these hormone-like substances. So these compounds are made inside our cells from essential fats, like I just said, and over 30 types of prostaglandins have been discovered so far. Now these PGs, or prostaglandins, act as mediators, having strong effects on the regulation of the contraction and relaxation on the smooth muscle tissues of our bodies. The smooth muscle tissues can be digestive tract, bladder, your cardiovascular system, i.e. your veins, arteries, capillaries, okay, ureters, kidney function. When you look at how prostaglandins control inflammation, look at the diseases that come from the cardiovascular system, the digestive tract, the bladder, urinary tract infections, kidney disease. Controlling the contraction and relaxation of those smooth muscles has to do with prostaglandin production. Prostaglandins are produced by essential fats. Essential fats let the whole thing happen in balance, in unison, in harmony. So if you don't have enough omega-3 fatty acids, you're not going to have enough prostaglandin production. You're not going to control the contraction and relaxation of smooth muscle tissue. Usually you get constricted, and it inhibits flow. So oxygen and nutrients and all other things can't flow like they're supposed to through these tissues. Therefore, you get a higher chance of breeding disease. Prostaglandin production is it's so important because it controls inflammation. So controlling inflammation is one of the major factors in maintaining optimum health. Every disease factor, every disease entity has an inflammatory response or characteristic to it. So essential fatty acids are one of the keys to bring back into balance the aforementioned prostaglandin production and balance, which helps mediate the inflammatory response of certain body tissue types. So you're controlling inflammation. This is huge in maintaining the best possible state of health, longevity, and optimum human performance. On another note, essential fatty acids will help you burn fat because things will flow faster, your metabolic rate goes up, it creates thermogenesis, which means the creation of heat, which melts body fat. Fatty acids are freed up to be utilized as energy, and you start burning fat at rest and while you train, and you keep your lean muscle tissue. Very, very, very important. Here's a picture of the cell membrane. Again, this is the outside of the cell, the inside of the cell, the double bilayer. It's kind of split in half and lifted up there. The essential fats are these fatty acid tails. So the entire membrane is made of essential fats and also saturated fats or cholesterols, which your body makes up. So having that balance of being permeable enough to allow things in to attach to the receptor site, get inside the cell, to make waste, to get out of the cell, has to do with fluid membrane permeability and the balance between your omega fatty acids and your saturates and your cholesterols. Fats that heal and fats that kill. How eating the right fats and oils improves your energy level, athletic performance, fat loss, cardiovascular health, immune function, longevity, and much, much more. Dr. Udo Erasmus, if you can see his name in bold down here, from Alive Books. Awesome book. It's a little scientific, it's a little reedy, a little wordy, but you can get through it. One of the best books I have ever read if you're looking to learn more about fats. In summary, they enhance cell-to-cell communication, which is the epitome of health because that leads to flow and to control inflammation in the body. They control the prostaglandin production and balance, leading to anti-inflammatory effects on various bodily tissues. It is a nervous system tissue protector. The myelin sheath is like a fatty sheath that wraps around your nerves, which allows the nerve conduction to go efferent and afferent out to the body and back to the brain. It also enhances brain cognitive functions, enhances joint function as well in terms of lubrication and controlling inflammation. And it's great for the eyes and all of their functions. Thank you so much for listening. I hope this helped you out. God bless you. If you have any questions, contact us. We'll be more than willing to help you out. Bye-bye.